सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. In the last class, we have completed the first sloka in chapter 15 titled Purushottama Prapti Yogam or Purushottama Yogam. In this particular sloka, Paramatma compared samsaram with aswatha vruksham. The idea of this comparison is to showcase the dosham in this entire samsara. The dosha darsanam of samsara. Samsara means our day-to-day life, how an individual faces various problems and how he runs around to solve those problems. It appears as though he is solving those problems, immediately some problems are standing right in front of him to face. So this eternal running around is called samsara. All our efforts to solve the problems are only palliative, they are not curative. Only the moksham will solve the problem for good. That is what we have learnt in the previous class. So samsara varnanam is being taken up by Paramatma from sloka 1 up to sloka 3, the first stanza. In this, he compared samsara with aswatha vruksha. He compared various attributes between samsara and the aswatha vruksha. The comparisons are like this: mahatvam, adyantarahitatvam, anirvachaniyatvam, moolatvam, Sakavatvam, Falatvam, Ashrayatvam, Chalanatvam, Chedatvam. So the idea is to show that the samsara is full of doshas. Samsara has got three kinds of doshas: dukkha misritatvam, apurnatvam, and bandhakatvam. So we have to come out of these three doshas. The dosha rahita jivitam or freedom is called moksha. Moksha here and now. That's what Advaita pronounces clearly. Moksha is not, after death. Moksha is while you are alive and kicking. So Paramatma gave this kind of description in order to, get moksha ichcha. Because moksha is defined as samsara nivrutti, freedom from samsara. So if I do not know what is samsara, I will not know what is samsara nivrutti. Only when I know what is samsara, I can understand samsara nivrutti. Moksha is only and only method to get samsara nivrutti. So, having come to know the dosha in samsara, I will turn my attention to the moksha sadhanam, the means of attaining moksha. If I do not know the value for the end, the destination, I will never have the value for the means. Because the value for the means is directly proportional to the value for the end. Therefore, we will be committed to this spiritual sadhana only when we clearly know what is sadhyam, the destination, which we are attempting to reach. Therefore, we get the description of samsara in the first 2.5 verses of this chapter. of which we have covered the first verse, in which Lord Krishna compared samsara to huge eternal tree of birth and death. And this tree comparison continues in the second sloka also, which we will see now. Adaschordam prasutastasya sekaha guna pravruddha vishaya pravalaha adascha molanyanusantatani karmanubandhini manushyaloke. Tasya sekaha, its branches, guna pravruddha, which are nourished by gunas, vishaya pravalaha, and whose shoots are the sense objects, prasutaha, are spread, adaha cha urdhvam, below and above, cha, further, mulani, its roots, anusantatani adaha, are stretched below, karmanubandhini, causing actions, manushaloke, in this very matyalokam, which is the earth. Tasya gunapravruddhaha vishyapravalaha sekaha ataha urdhvam cha prasrutaha santi. Ataha cha manushaloke karma anubandhini mulani anusantatani santi. Its branches, which are nourished by the gunas, whose shoots are the sense objects, they are spread below and above, far and wide. Further, its roots are stretched all over, causing the actions in this very earth. In the previous sloka, Paramatma had mentioned that God or Brahman is the primary root, the taproot of the samsara tree, samsara vruksha, aswatha vruksha. The entire visible universe is the trunk as well as the branches and the leaves. All karmakanda or ritualistic portions of Veda are to be taken as the leaves of the tree, which sustain the samsara vruksha. Now in this sloka, more details about the branches of the samsara tree we are detailing. Paramatma says, Tasya shakaha prasrutaha. The branches of huge samsara vruksha, the tree of life, are spread far and wide. And where are they spread? Adaha cha urdhvam. Some are up above and some are down below. Some of them are in the central portion, the middle portion. In short, all the 14 lokas are the branches of the samsara vruksham. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Tapaha, Janaha, Satya. And Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Talatala, Patala. All these 14 lokas are the branches. The middle loka being the Bhuloka. So, it is spread up above and down below. Not only that, every loka, in every world, there is a corresponding body also. Higher the loka, refined body jiva will have. The body is so refined. He may have Deva Sariram, he may have Gandharva Sariram, he may have Pitru Sariram. Like that, the Upadhi or the Shariram is very refined and sensitive to enjoy the pleasures there in that loka. In Bhuloka, the middle branch, Jiva attains a Sariram called Manushya Sariram, where it is subject to change and subject to decay. In the Hina Lokas down below, the lower branches, we have the Jiva will have Yatana Sariram, because there a lot of punishments will be given. So his body will undergo the pain, but it will not mutilate. It has to sustain undergoing the pain. So this Yatana Sariram he is carrying there. Jiva is not the body itself, because we have seen that body is not the individual or Jiva. Body is the location in which a Jiva comes for occupation. It is something like a tenement. Therefore, Jiva can be considered as Sushma Sariram, the subtle body, and the reflected consciousness. And this physical body is Madhyama Shakha. The mediocre branch, and Jiva, the Sushma Sariram, is now occupying the middle branch of the samsara. Occupying this Manushya Sariram, he experiences pain and pleasure. And when the karmas change, Jiva leaves this branch. Some bodies are dead. Some bodies become dead. Means what? Jiva body has left the Madhyama Shaka, the middle branch, called Manushya Sariram. Jiva can go to Uttama Sariram. Uttama Shaka means what? A finer body. Indra, Agni, Varuna, those Sarirams are bodies of the other Devatas. The superior branches he will go. So he can enjoy the pleasure there. Or if he accrued papam, then he is thrown into the Hina Lokas. He will have to undergo a lot of pain. It is not guaranteed that always Jiva goes to higher lokas. It all depends on what karma he did in the previous janmas. In Kathopanishad it is said that Yoni manye prapadyante sariratvaya dehinaha sthanu manyenu sanyanti yada karma yada srutam. A very important mantra in Kathopanishad. A human being need not always progress. It is not uniform, linear evolution. It is not that Jiva should always go higher and higher, according to Veda. After Manushya Janma, a person can come down to lower Janma also. A slip is also possible. That is why the life is compared to the game of snakes and ladders. Whereas, according to some theories of evolution, they say Jiva goes upper and upper ranges only. Then after Manushya Janma, it is still higher. They think that there is a uniform progress, but Veda does not accept this linear progress. If we do not lead a proper life, there is a chance of slipping down, slipping to Hina Lokas. Slipping means what? Instead of going up through the ladder, fall down to Hina Janmas. In the Manushya Janma, if he does not behave properly, he will fall down to Hina Janmas. You look at the snakes and ladder game. It is called Vaikunta Pali or Paramapada Sopanam. If you reach the 94th square, there are only 6 more steps to reach the home or moksham. That means you have to throw the die to get 6 number. If you are lucky to get 6 in the dice, then you can get moksha. But in 95, 97 and 99 squares, there are snakes. So after 94, if you put 5, then you go to 99 and slip down to 56, because there is a huge snake. There in 94, if you throw 3, then you will be swallowed by another snake and you will fall to 59. And from 59 to 1. Therefore, there is no guarantee that we will go upwards only. We have to be very responsible. Very big responsibility is there. It is, therefore, each type of body is compared to a branch. Now I am occupying a Manushya Sariram branch. In the next Janma, which Sariram will be the branch I will perch on, I do not know. But our attempt is what? Not going to higher branches or lower branches, leave the tree itself and fly into sky with freedom. We want to be free birds. Therefore, do not think of higher branch or lower branch. We don't want any branches. We hope we will succeed in becoming a free bird. Therefore, adascha urdhvam prasrutaha. Uttama madhyama adama sharira rupena shaka prasrutaha. Even though a person goes higher realms of heaven, that is also not permanent. It is said that once you go to higher realms of heaven, when your prarabdha is over, depending on your prarabdha for the next janma, you may fall down to inner lokas. Imam lokam va hinataram va vishanti. That is what Mundaka Upanishad pronounces. So, we should be very, very careful in Manushya Janma. We should not misuse this opportunity. We should try to get out of the branches. We should try to fly freely. That freedom is called moksham. If my life is sattvic, then I am given a higher realms of heaven. Bhagavan is not allocating these lokas at his whims and fancies. Definitely not according to his whims and fancies. We are earning these lokas by our very karmas, by our very actions in the Manushya Janma. If you are sattvic and if you do good deeds, Vaidika karmas, then you are entitled to higher realms of heaven. If you are rajasic, then you stay in this very Matsya Lokam. If you are tamasic, you will fall down to the Hina Lokas, the Lokas of punishment. That's what Paramatma gives us, because that's what we earn by our actions. Paramatma will not do it on his own. It is what we have earned. So this is what we have seen in the previous chapter also. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastaha, madhye gacchanti rajasaha, jaganya gunavrittistaha, adho gacchanti tamasaha, vishaya pravalaha. All these sense objects are like all the shoots which are responsible for the branch. So before full-fledged branch comes on the tree, from the trunk of the tree, Initially, the branch emerges in the form of a small shoot. That shoot alone is called the branch later, because the shoot slowly grows and gradually it becomes a full-fledged branch. Similarly, here also the next body must exist in this Janma itself, in the form of a shoot. I am preparing my next body. By what? By the type of activity I take up. Now, here, in this Janma, who is responsible for the type of activity? Paramatma says the sense objects of the world are responsible for the type of action I choose. Because the sense objects alone create a desire in me. Every sense object produces desire in me. That is why we have advertisements which lure us into actions. They will generate a desire in you so that you take up that particular product. They create a kind of desire and see that you act. Sense objects are responsible for kama, desire. And from desire, you get action. Sense organ is a potential kama. Kama or desire leads to what? Desire leads to an action, an activity. If you see a particular brand of a car, you develop desire. Maybe a local Maruti or BMW, whatever it is, depending on your status, you have a desire. And then you jump into action and plan to acquire it. And finally you acquire it. So the sense organs will create desire. Desire will lead you to action. And these actions may be good, may be useful for others, punya karmas. These actions may be papa karmas. If they are Veda Vihita karmas, if they are prescribed by Veda, you earn punyam. If they are Nishiddha karmas, if they are prohibited by Veda, you earn papam. So these activities will accrue papam and punyam. So when they accrue papam and punyam, depending on the papam, you will go to Hina Janmas. If the papam is more, you will drop down to Hina Janmas. If the punyam is more, you will be escalated to higher Janma. Therefore, Vishaya Pravalaha Adasya Molyan Anusantatani. For any tree, there will be several roots. One root will be the main root. The primary root is called the tap root. But the primary root alone is not sufficient. There will be several secondary roots also spreading all over. Bigger the tree, more the number of secondary roots. And more vast it is. The neighbor's house, if there is a huge tree, the roots will come to your house also. And in between the wall also will be threatened. There will be always quarrels, big quarrel. And not only one house, some roots can go to 2-3 houses. If the local tree has a primary root and many secondary roots, the samsara vriksha also must have primary and secondary roots. Primary root has been already mentioned in the first verse. What is the primary root? Do you remember? Urdhva that is the Chaitanya Tattvam or Brahman or Bhagavan. What are the secondary roots spreading all over? He does not actually name them, but the commentators explain they are Raga Dvesha. Vasanas are spreading as secondary roots. I like this. I don't like this. This kind of Ragam and Dvesham. These are all the secondary roots. If you see a particular thing, you may like it or you may not like it. So immediately you develop a Ragam or Dvesham. So this is the secondary root. If these people are taken into camps, invariably you will have that roommate. Maybe he is accommodative or sometimes he is not accommodative. So you will find an enmity with him, dvesham, within this 8 days of the camp. So this raga dvesha is the main thing which happens even within 8 days. Therefore, we can understand how a person can behave, in the samsara vriksham. So it is possible that you can have, likes and dislikes, and you separate this entire world as the world you like, the world you don't like. So this kind of jiva srishti takes place. So if you look at this in short, the sense objects will create desire. Desire will prompt you to action. Actions will give you punyam and papam, and punyam and papam will lead you to next janma. Therefore, Paramatma says, Adahacha Urdhvam. Further down, along with the main root, the tap root, further down, Mulani, here Mulani means the secondary roots, Anusantatani, spread all over. Our Raga Dveshas are not confined to our own house. It spreads to the neighborhood, to other states, to the country, like that. If you see a tennis match between Australia and America, within 5 minutes you develop unknowingly a raga towards one country, and you wish that country should win. You are no way connected to that country. And if there is a match between India and Sri Lanka, what to say? Naturally you will get liking towards India, and you want India to win. So this kind of ragam and dvesham will take place automatically. That is called anusantatani. The secondary roots are spread all over. They're in the form of ragam and dvesham. So karmanubandhini, whose consequences are varieties of karma. So anu bandhaha means consequences of raga dvesha vasanas. The consequence of every raga and dvesha is karma. What type of karma? Either pravrutti rupa karma or nivrutti rupa karma. Going after that thing or going away from that thing. If you have ragam, you want to go after that. If you have dvesham, you want to go away from that. These two only have been doing getting and getting rid. So karmanubandhini. All these are happening where in Manushya Loke. They are happening in this Matsya Lokam, in this very Bhulokam. In fact, this is the biography of the human being. Pravrutti and Nivrutti. One set is over. Again, next to Pravrutti, next to Nivrutti. So, until he dies, he keeps on, linked with pravrutti and nivrutti. Getting the things he wants, getting rid of the things he hates. So this is the action he performs throughout his life and finally dies. This cycle goes on and on like a huge merry-go-round. Imagine a giant wheel we have taken. Whenever the giant wheel stops, you can come out of it. Suppose you enter the giant wheel and you cannot come out. The switch cannot be put off. You are sitting there and it is going on and on. Now I ask, is it a merry-go-round? You scream to get out of it and you will say, it is no more a merry-go-round, it is a sorry-go-round. Similarly, if you plan to come out of this cycle of samsara vruksham, that is punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, there is only one way, which is called moksham. So, when you are not able to come out of the giant wheel, you really feel so stuck. Therefore, karmanu bandhini manushya loke. So all these karmas will bind a human being and make him do all kinds of activities. Because in Manusha Janma alone, we can do karmas. Whereas all other lokas are only the bhoga sariras, they can only enjoy. There is no question of fresh acquisition of karma. Since it is karma bhumi, since the Manusha lokam is karma bhumi, it has been mentioned here. Narupamasyeha tato palabhyate nanto nachadir nacha sampratishta aswadhamenam suviryudhamulam asangasastrena dhrudena chitva. Rupamasya, in the form of this samsara vruksham, tataha as such, upalabhyate, is not perceived. Iha, here. Na adihi, it has no beginning. Nacha sampratishta, it has no middle portion also. Nacha antaha, it has no end. The anta bhagam is also not there. Chitva, one should cut. Yenam suvirudha moolam, this well-rooted aswatha, the fig tree, the peepal tree. Drudena, firmly. Asangasastrena, with a weapon of detachment. Yatha ayam varjitaha tatha asya rupam iha na upalabhyate. Asya antaha na adihi cha na sampratishta cha na upalabhyate. Suvirudha moolam yenam aswatham drudena asangasastrena chitva. The form of this tree is not perceived here. It has no beginning, middle or end. One should cut this well-rooted fig tree firmly with the weapon of detachment. So in the first half of this verse, the description of samsara continues. I said that 2.5 slokas, they mention about samsara varnana. So we have this verse which is having samsara varnana. The first stanza talks about the samsara varnana. Here Krishna Paramatma conveys a very important and technical information. That is, when you try to probe into universe and this life and try to understand what is this creation and what is this life, when did it begin, when did it end, the more you try to probe into this creation, more mysterious it becomes, more unknown it becomes. The whole creation is a mystery, a maya, is superficially seeing. It will appear as though you can understand the creation well. The scientists have been thinking that they will have a clear explanation to every phenomenon. They are all working for the theory of everything. It is called TOE. They want the theory of everything. And they solve certain mysteries by using this TOE. Therefore, Paramatma says here, Asya Rupam na upalabhyate. Rupam means its Swarupam, its nature. The universe is incomprehensible. It cannot be understood. It is anirvachaniyam. The details we will get in Mandukya Karika. In the Upanishad class, a very technical analysis of what is Maya, what is Anirvachaniyam was taught. Here, Paramatma casually hints that Anirvachaniyatvam. More you probe, more mysterious it becomes. If somebody asks, why am I born? We will give immediate answer, it is because of your karma in the previous janma. If you are associated with me because of your karma, okay, because of our karma, we are born. And this person is satisfied, okay. My question has been answered. But why am I born? Our karma or our fate. But you will be satisfied, go home, but another question comes. Why did I do that karma? How did I do that karma? So, next day you will come again and ask the question, why did I do this karma? And why did I get the previous janma? So you will say, because you did some karma in the janma previous to previous janma. So like this, this is unending. So the first janma cannot be mentioned because the cycle, the creation cycle is anadi. Jiva is anadi. It is a circular in model, so there is no beginning point, there is no end point. So it is like this. In Mandukya Karika, they talk that when did I take the first janma? That means before Srishti, what was there? Before Srishti, what was there, we cannot talk because the time aspect comes only through Srishti. Through Srishti, all Panchabhutas have emerged, space has emerged, and along with the space, time also has come. Time and space will have a connectivity. Only in the Srishti we have the time concept. Before Srishti, the time concept is not there. So, what happened before Srishti we cannot say. Because there is no time. Time is not yet born. Similarly, what happens after Srishti? Again the same answer. After Srishti, again the time is resolved into Atma, along with Akasha and all other elements. So again time is not there. So before Srishti time is not there, after Srishti time is not there. You cannot definitely say about the time, what happened. The moment you say what happened, you are referring to time. What happened before Srishti? Where is my first Janma? So this is a question where you cannot answer because time itself is not there. So that means the beginningless Srishti and the Pralayam is taking place unendingly. Asya rupam na upalabhyate. Therefore, na antaha. You cannot talk about the beginning, nor you cannot talk about the end. The beginning of the universe is the beginning time. The end of the universe is the end time. Both the times you cannot talk because the time itself is not born before the universe is born. Similarly, once the universe is resolved, the time is also resolved. So after the Pralayam, what happens? You cannot talk. So the time itself is not there before Srishti and after Pralayam. So we cannot talk anything about this. So all we can say is they are all anadi. They do not have a beginning, nor will they have an end. So what about the middle portion? If you cannot think the beginning and the end, how can you assess what is the middle portion? If you take this room, you can assess what is the middle portion because you have the two boundaries, two walls are there on either side. You can take a measuring tape and find the distance between the two walls and take the middle portion. But if you do not have both the ends, the starting point is not there, ending point is not there. So you cannot talk about the middle portion. Nacha sampratishtaha. Nacha sampratishtaha means actually the support, substratum. But here in this context, we have to understand there is no middle portion. Madhyama portion, Madhyama bhagam cannot be found. So the universe has no beginning, no end, no middle portion. That means samsara has got no end, no beginning, no middle portion. So never try to understand this. You only try to remove samsara by going to the root, by going towards that Chaitanya Tattva. You need not know the details. Only you have to get rid of samsara. Samsara nivrutti is the only way you can attempt and to come out of this eternal problem. Moksha is the only remedy. If the dream is creating a lot of problems, what is the solution? Instead of struggling to understand what is a dream, you can simply get up. You got a bad dream. You got a very horrible dream. Then how to solve it? You simply get up and avoid the dream. Similarly, you know that the samsara is having three doshas. Dukkha misritatvam, atruptikaratvam, bandhakatvam. So to avoid the dosha sahita samsaram, you have to do samsara nivrutti. You have to get moksha. This is the topic. So with the second stanza, with the first part of the third sloka, the topic of samsara varnanam is over. And the second half of this verse will give a new topic, a second topic. What is the topic? Samsara nivritti upaya. What is the method of coming out of this samsara? How to get out of this vicious, terrible, uncomfortable, unpredictable samsara chakra. Paramatma is going to talk about this. He is going to propose 4 methods or 4 disciplines. They are not optional. but all four are important. What are those four? First, I enumerate them, and then we will see one after them in detail. The first one is Vairagyam. The second one is Brahma Vichara. Vairagyam, the meaning is dispassion. Brahma Vichara is inquiry into the root of the samsara vriksha. The third discipline is Saranagatihi, surrender or devotion. The word used is Prapti, which is a very important concept in Visishtadvaita, Vaishnava Sampradaya. That Prapti, otherwise called Saranagati or Bhakti, is the third method. And fourth upaya is Sadguna, developing a healthy and refined mind, otherwise called values enumerated in 13th chapter, like Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Arjavam, and so on. I will call them as Sadgunaha. So Vairagyam, Brahmavichara, Saranagati, Sadgunaha. These four upayas, these four methods are very useful to come out of the samsara. For samsara nivrutti, four upayas are given, four different techniques are given by Paramatma. The first one mentioned here is Vairagyam. So Paramatma, Krishna Paramatma says that you take a sword, the knife or axe of Vairagyam. With the axe of Vairagyam, may you learn to reduce your dependence onto the world. And because the world is constantly changing, because the world is mysterious, because the world is unpredictable, learn to reduce your dependence on the world. It does not mean you hate the world. From world dependence, gradually develop God dependence. God in any form, initially in the form of Ishtadevata. And later we discover that Lord in our own heart, in the form of our own higher nature. Then from God dependence, I'll come to self-dependence, which is otherwise independence. What is independence? Depending on myself. Paramatma says, Asanga sastrena drudena chitva. Asanga means vairagyam, dispassion, detachment. Shastra means axe or sword. Drudena chitva, so strongly, forcibly, you cut the taproot. You cut the samsara vriksha so that it will not grow again. So you can uproot the samsara vriksha with an axe called jnanam. Yenam suvirudha moolam aswatham. May you cut the dependence on the aswadha vriksha or the samsara vriksha by this asanga sastram. May this aswadha vriksha be uprooted. So our Swamiji often talks about the cardboard chair. It is a well-decorated cardboard chair is there. So we can enjoy it. We can definitely, see it as a decorative piece, but it is not worth sitting. If you sit on that, you will fall and break your leg or break your bones. So the world is like a cardboard chair. Don't depend on that. You depend on God. This is what the Sloka says, Vairagyam towards the world and attachment towards the God. So this Vairagya means not hatredness. It is a maturity. Asanga sistrena dhudena chitva. Having done that, the sentence is grammatically incomplete. Having done that, there are more disciplines which we have to practice. What are those three? That is given in the next sloka. Tatapadam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatah pravrutti prasuta purani. Tataha, thereafter. Tat padam, that very goal. Parimargitavyam, should be sought after. Gataha yasmin, reaching which na nivartani, they do not return. Bhuyaha, again. Prapadye, one should pray, I surrender. Tam evacha adyam purusham, to that primal God. Yataha, from whom Purani Pravrittihi, the ancient process of creation, Prasrutaha, has proceeded. Tataha yataha Purani Pravrittihi Prasrutaha tam evacha adyam purusham prapadye iti tat padam parimargitavyam yasmin gataha bhuyaha na nivartanti. Therefore, that goal should be sought after, reaching which they do not return. Again, one should pray, I surrender to that primal God from whom the ancient process of creation has proceeded. Tatha means thereafter. Thereafter means whereafter. After getting vairagyam, not suppression, but maturity. Suppression is never correct. It is going out of dependence. Just as we grow out of dolls and other playthings which we used to play in the childhood, only thing is the physical growth from the childhood is a natural process. You need not do anything. You survive somehow. You will physically grow. As you physically grow, you will not be leaning upon those dolls. The computer games and all things, biscuits, you are no more interested in local biscuits, but only in gold biscuits, different biscuits. So physical growth is natural, but emotional growth requires working on it. That is called Viveka Janya Vairagyam. So we have to study our experiences and learn after getting dispassion, the healthy dispassion. You have to go to the second upaya. The upaya is the discipline. Parimargitavyam. Parimargitavyam means inquiry. Vichara, Brahma Vichara. Searching, seeking of what? Tat Padam. Tat Padam means that ultimate destination of life. And also the ultimate substratum of the samsara tree. What is the root or substratum of the tree? The substratum or the root of the tree is Brahma, Nirguna Parabrahma. So may you inquire into that Nirguna Parabrahma. That is not sitting and closing the eyes and then, saying Aham Brahmasmi and all that. You should be equipped with the knowledge of Brahma and then try to own it up. That is required. Owning up the Brahman Swarupa is the meditation. So, Guru Shastra Mukhena Vedanta Vicharaha Kartavya. Brahma Vichara. Brahman inquiry is the Shastric inquiry. Shastric inquiry involves the guidance of Guru. May you enter into Vedanta Vichara. This is what we are going to learn in the next class. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.